What's up, guys? Welcome to Tech Headlines, a show where we talk about some of the big news that happened in tech this week. I'm your host, Winston Mochance, so let's jump right in. This week begins with leaks. Three companies were involved in leaks this week. Damn! Facebook had another leak. To clarify this story, Facebook had this leak in 2019, but this week information was posted online for free. What information, you might ask? Well, the information of over 533 million users was made public online for free. Very important note this week. And Facebook's response to this was actually very interesting. Facebook says, that is, when they were asked if they would let these users know, Facebook said no.
Don't snitch, Granddad. They don't know nothing unless you tell them.
They won't let the users know. What's the reason? Well, a spokesperson of the company said that they weren't confident in being able to find the exact users this affected, and that users couldn't particularly do anything about it, especially because the information scraped was already made public by the users. Facebook, on the other hand, was, however, nice enough to give you some tips on this, some advice on this little situation on their Facebook blog, and I read. While we addressed the issue identified in 2019, it's always good for everyone to make sure that their settings align with what they want to be sharing publicly. In this case, updating the how people find and contact you control could be helpful. We also recommend people do regular privacy checkups to make sure that their settings are in the right place, including who can see certain information on their profile and enabling two-factor authentication. Here's the thing, Facebook right now is like that African kid that has been beaten by its parents so many times that he doesn't really care about it anymore. Facebook has been involved in more leaks than the best ultimate plumber in the world. And that's my boy Johnny Sins. OnlyFans. Yes, OnlyFans was also involved in a leaky situation. No, not that kind of leak. Now, the company called Back Channel, which is a cybersecurity company, said that it found a Google Drive folder filled with content from OnlyFans content creators such as Bella Thorne, Amber Rose, Black China, Tiger on there, along with millions, quite a lot of other people. And it's saying that this means that OnlyFans had been breached or had been hacked. OnlyFans' response to this is no. OnlyFans says that the situation is that someone who has an OnlyFans account had paid for all these creators, ripped the videos and pictures off of their website, and then made it publicly available. On this particular note, I actually side with OnlyFans' statement because it is an extremely likely thing to happen. I mean, if you ask the Netflixes, the Amazon Prime Videos, if you ask the Disney Plus, it's a thing that always happens. If you are a website that is hosting or streaming any type of content, best believe someone is going to rip it and put it online for the masses. Now, the last company involved in this leaky situation this week is actually LinkedIn. Now, if you don't know what LinkedIn is a platform where professionals go to, air quotes, advertise themselves. So this week it was announced that about 500 million users had their information scraped off of the LinkedIn platform, and it's actually being sold online on the dark web. Now, like I said, very, very key. Earlier I said Facebook was up for free, but LinkedIn, it was up for a price. Why is this? Because some of this information is information that people would pay money for. Like, for instance, you would get the information on the contact details and everything about an individual in a business. So that is why that information was on sale. And also because Facebook is always in a data leak of some sort. So yeah, nobody really cares. 500 million users is actually equal to about 2/3 of the number of people on the LinkedIn platform. So it's a very, very, very important and very serious case. Now, in a statement to Insider, the company said, and I read, "While we are still investigating the issue, The posted dataset appears to include publicly viewable information that was scraped from LinkedIn, combined with data aggregated from other websites or companies. Scraping our members' data from LinkedIn violates our terms of service, and we are constantly working to protect our members and their data. So pretty much what LinkedIn is saying is that, was there a data breach? Yes, that happened. Are the people who did this bad? Yes. However, the information gathered is information that was already made public by the users, with a few extras in there. Now, that is a very confidence-inspiring way to handle this. Yes, it is information that we made public, but considering the fact that this information ties to jobs and stuff like that, you would expect there to be more security. You would expect there to be a heightened sense of keeping everything under wraps and preventing people from being able to scrape this data off. And the last thing that LinkedIn said to the bad guys and to these scrupulous people is, bad boy. Next on the news is from the US President Joe Biden. Now he is calling for the funding of semi-conductor manufacturers. You are wondering what is going on? Well, there's been a global shortage of semiconductors. What are semiconductors? Well, they are pretty much the heart and soul of many of the electronic devices that we use, so like your smartphone and everything. And now with the shortage of these semiconductors, we've had a devastating travesty like the scarcity of the PlayStation 5. So this shortage in semiconductors is the reason why some of you paid over 8,000 Ghana cedis for a Sony PlayStation 5 when it costs about 3,000 Ghana cedis. The White House, in their proposal to Congress this week, said that they needed $150 million to set up 2 semiconductor manufacturing businesses so that it could address this shortage. Now, you may be wondering, how did this shortage happen? Well, it all begins from a certain thing that happened last year. You know what? COVID. Yes, COVID is responsible for this. So with the upsurge or with the existence of COVID starting last year, many companies or many semiconductor businesses had to shut down. So that means that a lot of people were not they were not making a lot of semiconductors during the period. However, at the same time, everybody started getting online because everybody was forced to go online, which means that more people were purchasing smartphones, laptops, and all manner of things because most people were at home and needed comforts, which many electronic devices were providing. So what happened is that with the reduction in semiconductor production, as opposed to the increase in demand for devices that house these semiconductors, you could understand that there is a shortage. Also, a certain trade war didn't particularly help in this matter. So yes, the US wants to start 2 semiconductor manufacturing businesses, and they are actually having a virtual conference with some of the big players in semiconductors such as Samsung, Qualcomm, and so many others to discuss the way forward. But this is also interesting news considering the fact that Google has also announced that they are going to be making their own semiconductors, and this is something I will talk about in a separate video. And in other news, LG
Life is good.
has bowed out of the smartphone making industry.
Life is good.
The company earlier this week, I think it was on Monday, said that they were pretty much done with the smartphone business.
Life's good.
As to why they were bowing out now, well, the company says that they've been experiencing about 5 years of losses from the business, so it was about the right time to pack out.
Life is good.
The most interesting thing about LG is that although progressively over the years LG hasn't been that popular as a brand, they are responsible for quite a number of industry standard features on our smartphones today. So it's actually a very big blow because LG for me was one of the more innovative and risk-taking companies where they were willing to do whatever. But the issue is that it seemed like they were just shooting in the dark. So the company says that they will still sell the smartphones that they have on the market. They will continue selling that, and they will continue to provide 3 years of support. But after that, it's a wrap. Are you wondering what they are going to be doing next? Well, I am going to read exactly what they said about that. The closure of this chapter would enable the company to focus resources in growth areas such as electric vehicle components, connected devices, smart homes, robotics, artificial intelligence, and business to business solutions, as well as platforms and services. If you ask me, it's a good place to go. I mean, the smartphone business is a very, very cutthroat, and it's pretty much being run by about 5 major companies, and that is Samsung, Apple, Xiaomi, Vivo, Oppo. You may be wondering where Huawei is. Well, yes, they are also in the mix, but due to a certain trade war, yes, they have been on the back burner for a while now. LG leaving to go into businesses such as electric car component creation is very, very important, because a company like Panasonic is one of the companies that Tesla works with in its battery production. And I've always wondered why these other old school combustion engine car manufacturers haven't gone to smartphone companies to try and figure out battery tech, because if you ask me, smartphones and even laptops and stuff like that are constantly improving the battery technology, because nobody wants to charge their phone every 3 hours. It's a thing. So battery technology has been improving a lot in the smartphone industry as well as in laptops. So I'm very surprised that many of these old school combustion engine companies haven't gone to them. But with LG buying out to do things like this, I am sure they will get a lot of business. I hope all the homeboys, I hope Sammy and everything poured one out to LG. But I have 2 questions, LG. 1, what happens to your patents? And 2, does that mean we are really, really not going to get that rollable phone that you promised? Because that phone was very interesting. So that's it for the news. But before I go, the tech word for the week. Now, the tech word for the week today is scraper. You heard me mention it several times when I talked about the leaks pertaining to Facebook and LinkedIn. And the definition of the word scraper simply means the use of software to pull, extract, or scrape. You know what scraping is? Yes. Readable information from a website or platform. To make this increasingly simple, it basically means that you use a software that is able to pull all written and readable, user readable information from a website. So if I go to Facebook and I had a scraping software, what I could effectively do is that I would embed the software into, or the hack into the platform, and then anything anyone posts or anybody I target, anything that they've posted in terms of their bio, where they went to school, how old they are, where they work, all that visibly readable information, it would pull all of that. And you may be thinking that that isn't really a big deal, but if you are able to accrue enough of that information, you could easily build a profile of a particular demographic. And don't think that because Facebook's issue is being taken a bit lightly, to me, that it's not a big issue. It kind of still is a big issue. It's not as big an issue as a proper hack. And I say proper hack because to me, a data scrape is still a form of a hack. But there's actually a whole court case that happened with LinkedIn some time back where it was ruled that scraping is not hacking. That's a whole different thing altogether. So that's it for the news. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And as always, I will catch you guys next time. Peace.